Animals are crazy because we can experience things. We are aware of the world around us and we can interact with it. And we can thank that ability to our 5 senses. We have the ability to see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. But how do these processes work? I'm Noah Sokolsky, and you're watching Pinpoint here on Dito Productions. Arguably, the most important sense is sight. We have the ability to see things around us because light travels through our eyes and into our brain. But how does this process work? Well, let's just say you're looking at something really interesting. In order for you to really see it, light has to travel through several parts of the eye. The first stop that it has to make is the cornea. Now your cornea is the soft layer of tissue that's transparent on the outside of your eye that protects the eye and focuses light inward. After the light travels through the cornea, it goes to the pupil, which can be expanded or contracted in order to let more or less light in. The pupils expand in darker environments and shrink in lighter environments. And the pupils can also expand or shrink depending on how much you like the thing you're looking at. After going through the pupil, light goes through the lens of your eye. Now the lens has a similar function to a camera lens. It focuses light to make you see something either really close or really far away. After being focused by the lens, the light travels through the eye and to the back of it, which is called the retina. And on the retina is lined millions of little cells called, not cells, is it cells?
Structures?
I don't know if it's cells, hold on.
They're not really cells, they're receptors.
No, I think they are cells. In the script it says cells, and I did research.
They're made of cells, but they're,
Receptors? Okay. And on the retina are lined millions of different structures called rods and cones. Rods and cones are very important for you to be able to see things. Rods are in charge of seeing shapes and black and white images, and cones are in charge of seeing color. The light stimulates these little structures, and they send electric signals up your optic nerve and into your brain to be processed what the image actually is. Moving on to the ears. Now those crescent-like things on the side of your head aren't there for decoration. Ears, as we all know, have the ability to pick up sound frequencies. Now let's say you're listening to something interesting. In order for you to really hear it, it must go through several parts of the ear. Now let's start in the outer ear. That's called the pinna. The pinna acts like some sort of funnel that directs the sound through the ear canal and hits something called the eardrum. The eardrum is a thin, tightly wound... The eardrum is a thin, tightly wound... So thin, taut?
Is a thin, taut membrane.
It's not a membrane.
It is a membrane.
No, it's not.
Sure. What else is it?
Do you know what a membrane does? A membrane has the ability to have something go through it, like pass through it. What?
Like sound?
Yeah, but it's vibrations. That's not like physical matter. It's not a... The eardrum is not a membrane, kids. Once it hits the eardrum... wait,
The eardrum, also called the tympanic membrane.
Is it really a membrane?
Yeah. Sorry.
The eardrum is a thin, taut piece of skin that vibrates when sound hits it. And when it vibrates, those vibrations go through 3 bones called ossicles. When the ossicles are vibrated, they hit a spiral-like tube called the cochlea. The cochlea is a liquid-filled tube filled with hairs. When vibrations hit the cochlea, it creates waves in the water that stimulate the little hairs. And the hairs are connected to nerve cells that send electric signals to your brain for you to process what you're hearing. The process of smelling is a lot like seeing and hearing, just a little simpler. Whenever you breathe in, odor-producing molecules go through your nasal cavity and hit something called the olfactory. When the receptors of the olfactory are stimulated, it sends electric signals straight to your brain, just like seeing and hearing does. Taste is by far my favorite sense. When food goes onto your tongue, it's covered by saliva, which is an enzyme that helps break down food and allows you to taste things easier. The food then glides over taste buds on your tongue, called papillae, which then send electrical signals to your brain. This is all starting to sound very familiar. All of these senses work almost in the same way. But what about the last one? Touch. Your body is filled with millions and millions of nerve cells called neurons. Every neuron in your body has a specific job to do, whether that be sensing heat or warm hugs. On the outside of a neuron is a layer of positively charged ions, and on the inside of the neuron is negatively charged proteins. Despite having all this potential energy inside you, your body is considered electrically neutral. That is until something stimulates you. Let's just say that you give yourself a touch on the forearm. What that does is it opens a membrane on each nerve cell that comes in contact with the stimulus and lets in some of those positively charged ions. Now the positively charged ions interact with the negatively charged proteins and it creates an electrical impulse. Now those electrical impulses travel down the stem of the nerve cell and hit something called a synapse. Now there are probably about 1 trillion synapses inside every human body. Synapses are little receptors that are in charge of connecting electric pulses between neurons. Now let's just say you have a heat neuron and it senses some stimulus. It will send an electric pulse down its stem and hit a synapse that could hit a pain neuron. And that pain neuron may send an electric impulse directly to your brain, where you can say, ouch, that hurts. Now this is a bit of an oversimplification. The process of your neurons and how they send signals is incredibly complex, yet you can have a signal pass through your entire body and have you have a motor response within literally milliseconds. And that is incredible. So now you know how your body ticks. Thanks for watching Pinpoint. My name is Noah Sokolsky, and I'll see you next time here on Dito Productions.